Hello everyone, we're back in another Tro Club with deck profile, and today we got a special one. It's actually a double deck profile. We have both Sam and Angel here.
How's it going? Hi.
And they both actually got top 16 with the same deck, which is the Oceanus Shenron leader. So we're just going to do both of them at the same time because they are pretty similar. So Angel ended up getting 9th and Sam ended up getting 11th. So we'll go into the leader itself first. So if one of you guys want to just quickly explain what it does, so anyone doesn't know.
Yeah, so on Unawakened, you tap it, you Z-charge your card, and then you look top 5 for a Shadow Dragon, yellow, so you can search multis with that too, so you can have the single Gogeta. Awaken at 6 life and 2 energy. There's ways to take life. You untap the leader, you untap an energy, and you draw a card. And then on Awakened side, when you swing, discard a yellow card, right? Yeah, yellow card, and then draw 2 cards. Once per turn, you can activate main and play a 4 or less Shadow Dragon from your warp. And then if you do at the end of the turn, it untaps.
And that's with its skills, right?
With its skills, everything intact, yeah. So whole real card. And then activate battle on opponent's turn. You can warp 3 Shadow Dragons from your drop area to get 10k for a battle. So that helps set up plays for the next turn and like turn some cards live. It's a very versatile leader.
Yeah, so I know the main Shadow Dragon deck that people are playing right now is Nova, so why did you guys decide to take Oceanus over anything else?
I'm retarded. That's about the only reason why.
Well, when the set first came out, I just figured this was probably just going to be the best between the two leaders. It's just straight aggro to your face for the most part. Mine I'm doing a little bit differently. I'm doing a little bit of hand control personally. I like it with the Purungas, and I'm doing the Toa Overwhelms, which is the main difference between our two decks. But I just like but I think before Nova became like really popular, no one really didn't know too much about it. Like the last month, it really took off. But before that, we figured just Oceanos is probably just the way to go. But seeing now, Nova is just really consistent. Nova is just really more consistent than this deck. You have to get your pieces. In order to really pop off. Getting the pieces with like the leader top 5 searching, and then the drawing 2, and then there are searchers in the deck. Allows you to get to your pieces very easily, but like I said, Nova is just more consistent. This is just more aggro to your face.
Alright, so I guess let's go on to the main deck now. So whatever one you guys want to start with.
Hand size is also smaller in this.
Yeah, hand size is also smaller in this. Alright, I'll start. Like I said, I was doing hand control more build. I did the Purunga choice. For me personally, it came in really clutch this last weekend when we did the fest. I found myself clearing boards, using its effect to clear boards a lot, and also using its effect to doing the hand destruction cards, where I draw cards and then they discard cards. And a couple times I used it to rest their energy, but that doesn't really come up too often. I feel like my opponents are just leaving way more energy open now to just protect themselves. Then
We'll go into let's go into
Compare,
whatever
I guess, yeah.
Angel played.
So I just swapped, instead of using Purunga, I originally had that in there. I swapped to this. I just felt like with all the energy that I had, every one of those energies was a real battle card. So I wanted a Secret Rare that could push even harder. I just needed a free Secret Rare basically. And this is the best free Secret Rare you can have in yellow. Putting this behind leader, putting this behind like a Overwhelm 20k, that is what I run. Like, it just feels really good. And to close out games. Now, it is also a reason I lost the game though, but it's also the only reason I won like half of my games. They weren't ready for the Piccolo Gohan, so that really closes out games really well for me.
yeah, like I said, the big reason for this is this deck also has a real big problem of clearing barriers. There is like no removal at all in this deck to clear barriers. So I just found this one to be more, when I was building this deck for more control-y hand destruction type, I just found the Purunga just to be better personally, and I liked it.
Alright, nice. Okay, let's go on to the rest of the deck now.
Probably the most broken card in the deck. It's probably gonna get hit in some sort of way eventually. Just the Gogeta. Just combining this with the Purunga is just insane, and especially the Toa. If you do it right, you got 6 cards in one turn out of your hand, and that is insane. So, and then late game too. I mean, if you're trying to go for the dual attack and remove cards, especially when they have maybe like 1 or 2 life or something like that, that's really good. But the main thing is for the double strike, and ripping the 2 cards out of your hand.
You also were playing them, right? You're also playing 3 of them?
I'm playing 3 just because it's a 10K, or I would run 4. I mean, you're only going to play 2 in a game, really. So you don't want to see that many, but 3 SR.
Yeah, it's very searchable. It's actually searchable with leader top 5, and then also this.
No, that one can't.
This cannot.
No, that one's mono.
Oh, is it mono?
Yeah.
Oh, it is mono, so that's my bad. But
Yeah.
but even with the leader drawing 2, even with the leader drawing 2 and then the leader top 5, it's just very searchable. So having 4 is no reason to, especially when they're like 1K combos.
Yeah, it's definitely built for the deck, so it works really well.
Yeah. The next, probably the best card in the deck, would be these 8-drop Allies Absorb. It's just the card that pops off your whole entire game. So my strategy in here, my strategy personally was going like face. So usually my turn 1 play would go into the sprint. Have it gain barrier. Next turn, swing, gain double strike. Then use this to get rid of it, and then copy its effects, and now you got another 30k double strike. So sometimes if they're not ready for this, they'll just take the double strike with the 15, and then they're just not ready for that, and they'll be forced to do something drastic, either take it, or a lot of times my opponents were just taking it and they couldn't do nothing about it.
All right, and then were you also doing that combo on yours, Angel?
Let's see. So I do have the 4 right there, because that is like, it's the most important card in the day. If you don't see this turn 2, you're pretty stuck. This is also how you take life most of the time, to get down to 6 so you can awaken. If you don't see this, then you either have to do like a surmounting Z card or the Z Unison. But yeah, I would either play that, or I was also running these. Were you running those, Sam?
I was not. I just decided. Also, another big difference between our 2 decks, I am running 50 cards.
Yeah, I'm running like 56, 55.
So I'm able to see. I feel like I'm able to see my pieces a lot more. And like I said, I don't think there was a game where I never saw the sprint turn 1 or 2. But it's just, I think I've seen it like every time turn 1, because with the mulligan and the top 5, it's just almost impossible not to see.
So how can you pick that Oceanus to bring?
This is, so there's a lot of decks that can't deal with barrier that early. So this was pretty important against those decks. I'm trying to remember what, there was a matchup where I kept like 2 barrier guys alive for like 3-4 turns, just over and over, 30-20, 30-20, 30-20. And then this is mostly what you want to do though. Sam's right, like this is just the better play 99% of the time. But there's certain decks where you know that putting them to 4 isn't going to matter, or they have so many negates like against blue that one of those 2 is not going to go through on turn 2. Whereas if you do this, there's just nothing that they're going to do, and you can pressure them over and over and keep playing more and more battle cards, and then end up doing this on the later turns as well. It just I can change my game plan based on the 2. And there was never a game I didn't see one of these 2 either. So
yeah, having 2 barrier blockers that early is definitely
it feels very good.
Very safe.
Certain ones.
All right, move on to the next one then.
This card isn't as crazy, but it's still a very good card. If you're able to pop off with the right card combo, if your opponent swings at you and you're able to see one of these, and a sprint, you are just doing, and fair and square. Yes. You are just doing so much damage on turn 2 that it's just hard for your opponent to come back. So like I said, turn one you go into the sprint, you pass. Then turn 2, if they swing at you, you take your life. You go into this, you take your second life, and then you have to use the what you need to do is just have to. Usually, if you have like Animancer, it's easy to get your drop going to be able to overwhelm. Because another thing about this, if you don't see your overwhelms turn 2, then you're just gonna have to wait a following turn to use the leader effect to put 3 cards into your warp, which is unfortunate. But if you're able to see the Toa and all this, so if you get your fair and square into the warp, you use the leader effect to tap 1, and then you X evolve onto this. So you have a double strike. So you have a double strike, 2 swings with this possibly, and it also KOs something. And if it KOs something in rest mode, it restands. But most of the time, I was just using this. Most of the time, I was using the card to remove token negate blockers, which it came in so clutch. It actually won me a game for that.
And then
they just weren't even expecting it.
the 4-cost Nova actually plays out another guy, right?
Yeah,
8-drop 30K?
Yeah, so we'll get into that one later. So you have 30K, 30K. So you have the sprint, this evolves into this, and then the overwhelm,
And then the 8 cost.
and then the 8 cost.
Yeah, it's all
So
turns.
that is a massive turn. It doesn't happen all the time, but it happens enough to where it's just a broken. So your board should be this right here, and this card will be in the warp. But
This is all turn 2, right?
this
All
is
this
all
coming
turn
out.
2. Yes.
Yeah, pretty
They
insane.
can't swing if they awaken or something.
Yeah. If your opponent's card's in rest mode, they just can't. Your opponent's leader just can't swing. So that is, it's also a good defensive card. Another thing I like about this deck too, there's a lot of free defensive stuff in this deck, which I think is pretty good. And I think the ice is one of them to help you out.
So are you also playing that same combo, Angel, like the same exact
Yeah,
way?
it's not the same exact way. I mean, I still have those obviously to go over the fair and square. My overrealm, I use the Bardock just because my deck is bigger, so I want to like filter through stuff more often, and I like the 20K body. The discards are good, but I don't know. I was just afraid of like everybody being ready for this to pitch the guys that draw them cards after you try to pitch stuff. So I kind of stuck with this. I considered switching to the trunks that draws 2 and then warps the 1, so that even if you have the fair and square in hand, you can send it to warp. But
Yeah,
that falls
because-
off really bad in the late game. 15K body is like nothing, and 20K is still like a real relevant
The only
body. so I
reason,
really
the
didn't
only
like
reason
this.
why I'm doing the Toa also and not the Bardock, because the Bardock is a good choice.
Makes you
Because
leader
not what?
Makes your leader 20.
Yeah, well, yes, it does boost the leader, but the other reason too is not all the time you're going to see this card. So, and most of the time you're able to only get 3 cards and you drop on turn 2. So, and I think that was imperative for me to like pop off with the combo that I was trying to do. But if you have Animancer, then most of the time you're able to always do the Bardock. But it's sometimes when you don't see the Animancer, because the Animancer bursts. So, because you got the burst, because the military sprint also bursts. So you could burst that, and then with the combos and the Z charging, you're almost always able to get 3 in your drop. Because your leader also, when you swing, you have to discard a card.
Yeah, it's
to the
easy to
drop.
get
So
3
it's
or
easy to
4.
get the 3, but a lot of times it's kind of hard to get the 4 sometimes. So without the Animancer, but it can be done though. But that's why I preferred the 3 cost over the 4 cost.
All right. So we move on to like whatever the next. Is that his entire deck? Or is there more?
No, there's. So we'll just go real fast here because most of the cards you guys see, doing 3 ice, it's just part of the combo that goes into the next card, which is the fair and square. So your leader card, you almost always want to go into the fair and square. There's times when I was going into the Animancer. So on top of pitching the Animancer, you send her to the warp with the leader skill or the overwhelm. And then she's just in the drop. So a lot of the times, there was times when or even him too. Yeah. And there was times when I just didn't even see fair and square, and I just had to go into her. And she's still real nice. She's still a 20K bear hair blocker. So
Tap stuff down is the most important part, I think.
yeah.
So when having that like sitting there, and if they token negate, you can just swing with that and tap it down, and it's just it feels so like you can keep bullying them with your aggression because you have that card to tap down blockers.
Yeah, and that's where this card's also really nice because it also goes into his card that he's playing as well, the 2 drops. Well, also
Oh yeah,
2 drops.
this plays out the Animancer for 1 when you send it with this card skill, so you get double barrier blocker on turn 2, turn 3, over and over.
One of the other core defenses of this deck is the haze.
Yeah.
It's just like, especially because it does. What does it do? It's
Rest mode higher than their energy.
rest mode higher than their energy. Yeah. And it KOs it. So maybe against like Kid Ku and stuff like that, it's not the best. But like against green, it's just amazing. Against the mirror match, the Novas, it's just real amazing. And even the Kid Ku, like it still plays like 5 drops and stuff like that. So this is like one of the core defenses. Like on top of that, with the ice, where it locks your opponent's leader or any card when it's played. So it's just really insane card.
Was there any vital times in the day where like Hayes like saved you from something really crazy?
No, I think it just kind of just let me bully them in the early turns mostly.
Yeah,
it didn't never. Nobody runs into Haze like when it matters because then that's when they remember.
Yeah.
They don't remember early on when they're like, oh, here you go, put you from like 4 to 3, and it's like now that's dead, and now you have like no defense. So
There was times when it didn't, like, it never really saved me or anything like that. But there's times when I used it where I didn't have to use resources like a negate or something like that.
Yeah.
Or they would just, it would be nice, they would combo a card or two. I'm like, okay, and I'll just haze it, and then I'll just, because the haze is nice because you combo it, it goes into your thing, and it's also a double strike for you to use on your allies too, which is just really nice. Yeah, and you could also, I believe you can also play it with
leader effect, right?
leader. So like all these cards, they're also like they're all multi-purpose cards. So it's just
They synergize really well.
Yeah. Next card is the Cold-Hearted. Cold-Hearted are always going to be played in any yellow deck until the end of time, until they ban them.
Also a really good target off your leader too, right?
Yes, and also a really good target off the leader, because there's times when maybe I just don't.
I run 3.
Yeah. There's just times when I just didn't even want to go into these, and I just wanted to do these early games.
Yeah.
If they floodgate me or something like that, just an easy switch to my game plan.
So good to play one out with leader, have it out, and then they somehow deal with it ignoring barrier while you have another one in your hand. So then they like deal with it with that, and then they're like, okay, I dealt with that, now I play my card that I was trying to play around, and then you just do one from your hand. It's just like that.
It's just really busted.
Dang, they had to get through 2 of them.
Yeah, it's just really busted, the fact that you could just play it with leader.
Feels good.
For 1 energy. It's just really nice. Probably one of the most underrated cards in the deck. It helped me out twice.
Oh, that card.
It is
reason I won multiple games for sure.
I won a game because of it as well. It negates anything, any unison, any battle
Ignoring
card,
barriers,
ignoring
right?
barrier, even the unisons too, which was a big thing.
I hit multiple of the Deborah unison, the Z unison.
Oh wow, yeah.
That's so important because
Yeah, it
that
just
thing
comes
does so
in clutch.
much. It's
Because that can play off the Nova,
Yes.
right? That you play from
Yep,
Warp, right?
You play tap for the Nova, then you can sack them both for.
Because it's just easy play from
successor.
fair and square. So
You can also EX evolve the 8 cost on this 4 cost to draw 2.
yeah.
So you can.
So it's just a
draw
really
a
nice
ton.
card. Yeah. We were talking about them before, but the military sprints. No, it's just your starter card at the choice of the starter. At the start of the
2/1 cost. Yeah.
It never came up. I was always setting them out, but sometimes they're nice. But I play 2 of the Bardock negates.
Yeah, me too. It does come up every once in a while against certain decks in the early game.
it does. But
But
for me particularly,
It
I
did
think,
come out a lot.
Yeah, for me particularly, I think I was, like I said, with the hand control build I was doing, I was controlling the game well enough where I just didn't even need to use it. Like I said, I was siding them out most of the time because my matchups just, like I did a lot of green this time, so green's just a lot of big bear guys, so it's not really
Yeah.
the best. Well, I mean, I guess it would be the best because they can't get rid of the barriers, right?
No, they can.
They can't get rid of the barriers, so it's like, I mean, there just wasn't a lot of swings like that, and it
Yeah,
just
they
never
don't go
came.
wide.
Yeah, never really went wide. You do your other card before.
Oh, I guess something that's different. I run 2 of these still. I think it came at 1 time. Just
Yeah.
1 time.
Yeah.
So this guy comes out from your warp when you send it with your leader for 1.
So it's on opponent's turn.
On an
then, right?
opponent's turn play, yeah. So it'll tap something down and it's a blocker. It helped like 1 time. You can cut that. It's not that big a deal.
You think you
It's
don't
not
think you keep playing it?
I do just because it's another option. But if you want to make more room, I mean, I played against a mill deck and I only had 1 card left in my deck at the end. So playing the 55 or 56, I think it's 56, 55 actually. So that ended up mattering. So, but if you want a more smooth experience, probably cut those out. You don't need them. Everything else does more stuff.
All right.
The obvious super combo choice. No need to explain there.
You're playing 3 of them, right? Because it's
Yeah,
Gohan.
Piccolo Gohan. So
There's times when I get trapped at 6 life because it's easy just because your leader awakens at 6. So there's times when I get stuck at 6 life or 5 life, but it's just nice with the allies absorbed and the token negate that I'm playing. It's just easy. It's just easy ways to take life. So my extra cards are just the token negates and the flying nimbus.
Same there. I guess you have 1 more, right?
I think 2 token negates, 3 flying nimbus. It's the same.
Then you have the 1 final flash,
I
right?
have 1 final flash and I run the main board, the 2 dragon thunders.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to run more cards because I wanted to side more stuff. You know, I wanted to have like all the options for all the stuff without having to like fill up my entire sideboard with stuff. So I ran some of the things that you might typically see in a sideboard. But
Did negating the skills on any of those cards ever come up at
yeah,
all?
for sure. Final Flash came up multiple times. I was really happy to have that. Also, the 15K is that's great. It feels really nice to put that behind stuff. It's like you really win the game when you put that behind certain things. I think that's the mill guy. I think I only beat him because I had this card in my hand. I was able to get exactly enough combo power 2 times to guaranteed deal 2 damage to put him in the kill range. So without like the amount that gave you, I wouldn't have had it.
We already went over the overruns, but my overrun of choice was the Toa. Doing this, I've done, I think one game I did it like all 4 times in like 4 turns or 3 turns or whatever it was. My last game though, I was so unfortunate. I almost lost because I bursted this card 3 times in a row, and I needed it, and my opponent really wasn't swinging, and I didn't have the stuff in the drop to field like the leader. Like it was just like other stuff. Like I couldn't, because the leader you need to have the Shadow Dragon stuff in order to activate his plus 10k effect. And milling this and having like negates and stuff like that is just really unfortunate. So I almost lost because of that. But this, like I said, I preferred this one. This going with the Purunga and the Gogeta, 6 cards in 1 turn. I did it like maybe like 3 times, but multiple times I played like 2 or 3 like every single game, and it just gets to them with the big swings and the little bit of discarding here and there. It just gets to them. So, and I also don't think people are ready for it either. That's another reason why I decided to go for this. Like you think, okay, maybe I play like the hand destruction side cards or whatever, but because of the Gogeta, maybe people just don't even play it because if they think just the Gogeta, then I'm not even going to waste spots for sides. So it's just nice taking advantage of that because they just don't expect it.
Yeah, the free extra body is also super important, I think, every single game. Because like having a Bardock like 3 turns in a row feels like an overwhelm every turn feels pretty nice. So it's a kind of deck you can set that up. So
it's easy to set up in your deck. So.
Exactly. Yeah, lots of bursts, lots of that kind of shit, lots of combo.
And luckily, we never milled any SCRs.
I made sure, to not even try milling until
never
I had
once.
it in my
Yeah,
hand.
you gotta be.
I did mill my super combos like every other game, I think. So
Yeah,
like
I did mill some
4 out of
super
8
combos.
games.
Yeah, I did it a couple
combos.
times too. But you gotta be careful. You gotta play like the percentages. Like early game, I'm just gonna keep doing it. But then towards like turns like maybe like 3 or 4, I'm like okay, because you're gonna burst like maybe like 4 or 5 times by turn 4. So if you don't see it, don't Animancer anymore. Don't military sprint anymore. Like stuff like that, because you're just going to be risking the chances of your SCR just getting milled, and that will be unfortunate.
All right, well, I guess we can move on to the Z decks now. So how different was that
I think
for
maybe
each
just
of you
one
guys?
card, honestly.
It's different.
Yeah, I'm just doing here.
So is there any like standout cards that helped you throughout the day?
That or this. For
Really-
me personally, that's the only time I really went into. I went into this once because my opponent didn't swing at me turn 1 or 2 or whatever. So you need to go on this to awaken. But for the most part, this is something like this is just something that like big barrier that you need to like get rid of, and you don't have any other plays like if they floodgate you or something like that. And I did go into the Oolongs too. The Oolongs are just super nice for just 1 energy. I also preferred this one too. Just for you could also just do the haze. It's pretty much the same thing, but you have to swing with this. Yeah. So or no, it's when it's played. So it's when it's played and when it's attacked. So you could risk you getting floodgated. So but resting 1's still nice. But for 1 energy 2, I mean they're both 2Z energy, so I just like this with just rest 2 off the rip, and then of course it comes up a bit every once in a while.
How different yours, Angels?
I think
Or
I
how
only-
much did you go into the Z deck during the day?
So these were all basically finisher cards, or like on a turn where I had to win. The only thing I would play early are these 4, or these 4 right here. So this never came up even once. I always had I never had to take 1 life, and if I did, I had the other guy, the Omega, right? The Allies Absorb. So this never came up, although there will be a time that I would need it, so I'm not going to get rid of it. This came up once because, like Sam said, there will be times when they don't swing at you, so you have to take 2 life. And it's I actually played it in a game that was going so slow, I just kept giving my guys barrier over and over again. But it kind of helped, I guess. And it's like it takes the heat off of your leader. Sometimes they're like, they're not going to kill you, so they'll just get rid of this, which really helps keep your hand up in like pivot turns. This is mostly what I went into, like on if I wasn't going to win and I didn't want to commit more to board, just put one of those down.
Yeah,
Why
just
not?
getting flum gated.
And it gets
I've done it multiple
Rip
times.
the shit out of my Z energy too to put it into my drop. It feels nice.
And since you start turn 1, you can actually play a turn 1 if you wanted to, right?
If you
Going
wanted
first.
to, you could just go into that right away. If you don't have your turn 1 play, this is a turn 1 play. Oolong for finishing games, Haze for finishing games. This is a really good option for like to bait out like a time magic or like or a petrification and stuff like that. It's like it's a good card to play before you do your big plays. Same with this guy. This one didn't come up as often. This is probably the most important card. I might run one more just in case, but it really only ever comes up when you desperately need it. When you got sometimes they floodgate you right away. You have your board established and you can't do anything anymore, or you run out of your swings. You just have no more bodies.
Did it ever come up for you that day?
Oh, like multiple times I had to do this thing. So I would just tap 4, swing. They put there at 2. They think they're safe, right? They've comboed out of all your battle card swings. It's at 4 for that unison
It's
swing.
also a board wide too.
Yeah,
so
dump
it's really
the
nice.
Piccolo Gohan on it.
Huge
Hope
swing,
for the
yeah.
best, yeah. Hope for the best, and it usually works. So, busted card important in this deck, I think.
All right, I guess we can quickly go over the side deck also, whatever you guys had.
Came in super clutch against played against Nova, came in clutch. Also played against Black Goku. That was miserable, but came in really clutch against Black Goku. I also played against Vegeta, but I never played against any Vegeta. But it's just such a good card, especially in this deck where you can like just draw 2 from your leader. You'll see it almost by turn 3 every time. Koitsukai never really came up for me. They just like were like always 1 card behind before I could use them, so it was just. Kid Ku, never came up to you. I saw him, but it was just like so late in the game where it was just like we each only had like a couple cards left in our hand type of deal, so there to get a chance to use it. Dragon Thunder against Kid Ku. This card I think you definitely need a 4 of. It came in clutch. I had some guy Purungaed me, and I think I used it on Purunga like 2 or 3 of them. I think it was on the effects, so they was not happy with that. But this deck has a problem with hand size really bad. So anything green and probably anything yellow, honestly, you should just side them in because they're almost all the time going to play Gogeta in that deck. So I think it's just the most important side card. Doing this for like late game stuff, like against pretty much like green and mirror matches and stuff, it just comes up. And then 1-time magic for just like the big stuff if I'm tapped out, because there's a lot of times when I'm just going to be tapped out and rely on like free negates like Haze and token negates and stuff like that. But for the most part, that's just my side deck.
All right, we'll go into Angels now.
Yeah, I don't have those Gohans, or I don't remember where they were at, so I just put these in for green. I didn't get to play any green, so it didn't really matter, so that's fine. I would side these in and never draw them, or like draw them way too late in the game, so it was, I mean, they're good, obviously. This is a decent card. T-Blow came up. I might start running more of that again. It felt good when I used it. This card is broken. Whenever I used it, it was really lame, and I hate it.
Won any games, you think?
It won me 1 game for sure, yeah. Because if I hadn't activated it, he would have easily gotten out of that turn, like, so easy. So, like, what was it? He had 2 cards in hand and an Android 17 negate, and I had an Overwhelm that turn, so I swung with my last swing with a 30k. And if he could have negated it, but if he did, he would have to work the last 2 cards in his hand, so if I had the Overwhelm, it was just over. So he had to risk comboing out of it. He had the Z extra on board, so he had to just try it. And that interaction, I didn't have the Overwhelm, so that interaction saved me from, it basically checkmated him in a sense, like he had to go one way or the other, and he was screwed either way. But that's when it came up the most. This is a stupid card. I didn't have to use it though. That's for like the mirror for green, so it didn't come up. This I would side in almost every game because I played a lot of black. So I would take out like Bardock, because Bardock is useless against black decks, and I just needed as many negates as I could find. And this was for Kid Ku, but I didn't play Kid Ku, so it was mostly just Koits and time magic that I went into. I need to learn to side better, I think. Yeah, that's about it.
All right. Well, thank you guys for showing off the deck profile. Congrats on your finish at the Dallas Card Fest event. Hope to see you guys more in the future. Goodbye.
I hope so.